Welcome once again to a Let's Play video by me, Loxton, on G/T. Working title, by the way. This Let's Play channel is about to be rebooted. It's about to actually get content more regularly. And as part of that, it's also going to have new members, and it's going to have a new name. So this is probably the last Let's Play I'm going to do with the channel name G/T. Anyway, this is the Beginner's Guide. Literally the only thing I know about this game. A friend of mine told me to play it because it's really, really good, and he knows that I liked the Stanley Parable, and either this game is just really similar to the Stanley Parable, or it's made by the same people. One of the two. I don't remember. He told me to play this months ago, and I'm only just now getting to it. Anyway, begin the game. Let's see just how much like the Stanley Parable this is. Please make sure the audio is on. I can guarantee you that it is. I can't even hear myself talk. Normal controls. WASD and click.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide.
Gross.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable.
I knew it.
And
Well,
while
I guessed
that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Oh, so this is a true story.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda.
Maybe.
Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever.
I don't know what that's like.
And I think he
Minecraft
really
maps.
understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that my particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just EYWREDEN@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
It's like looking at the industry. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen something like this before. Aside from, like, kids graduating, I say kids, young adults graduating from, like, game development college and making a portfolio. This is like that, except put together nicely. I hope this guy got a job afterwards.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
No sounds.
This game is called Escape from Whisper,
that's probably a good
and
thing.
it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Good, a maze.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Aw.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Well, I am just a game character. Woo!
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Oh. Heh, like going into heaven.
The beam
stuff.
causes you to start floating.
Oh, hey, Labyrinth.
And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions.
Oh, joy.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
I really hope this guy's working on, like, bigger games now. I like that. Oh, I can't move. There we go. Oh.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Okay. Let's see. It's just a room. There's nothing creating these lights. Oh. Ah!
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
What? I actually really like this. It's changing as I get to places. Like, all these little games might have actually been made by one of the developers of the Stanley Parable. This seems like something he'd do. The guy that's talking is just the writer of the Stanley Parable. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know for certain. That's just a wild guess. Yeah.
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
I can't leave the path. Fog of War is intense. Those...
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say those ground textures reminded me of Age of Empires 2.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Oh.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
No, don't let me...
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Is it going to be something scary?
A room that's warm and filled with little ideas for games. Coda would often thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
I like that one. Oh, I didn't get to read all of them. I really like that one too, though. You're stuck in a small room until you realize you can just walk through the walls? That's brilliant. Is that what this is? No.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle.
Is it? There's a level.
Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
The controls at the beginning of the game told me nothing about there being E presses. Spooky. Okay. Can I go this way? Can I go this way? No? Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a lever. Oh, is there going to be a lever hidden somewhere on the walls? Can I do that? Or did I just... Ha! Ha ha!
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're going to see it a lot. So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, it's all simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
I keep expecting something terrifying. Oh.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, an interior, and then in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic... Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you think. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to... And what is it?
It's really interesting. No, not this again. Age of Empires 2 floor.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. there's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
This is cool. I like this. Was I supposed to be able to see a whole title there?
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
Haven't we
Every
been?
video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has very well, is boxy linear corridors. Are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because the tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
I want to look up here first. Nope, guess not. It's really interesting. These actually reminds me a lot of the, I made a Minecraft world level like this before, forever ago. Like, freshman year of high school. That was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was 8 years ago. Minecraft is old. I should do a Let's Play of that. I think I still have the file somewhere. My old Minecraft level. It was too hard for me to finish because I was never that good at the combat of Minecraft, but still. Woo! This is not what I was thinking it was. Okay. Oop, doop, 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 doop. Woo-hoo-hoo. Whoop-de-doo. Making my way down blocks, going fast. Something on the highway. I don't remember the song. Good thing there's no fall damage. Oh crap. Well, that's okay. Weird. Oh, it's glass, I guess. Weird lighting thing. Ah! Shut up! Stop! Oh.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you were gonna skip that. Whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
I feel like that's an artist's statement. It's like, yeah, these are all games are technically playable, but that doesn't mean they're good.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it, but I promise I'll share with you my interpretation.
music is very loud compared to everything else. I hope you guys can hear me alright. Ah!
Here, code system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
You know what, I hope you guys can see the text on the left there. I'm not sure if my recording software is able to record in ultra-wide. Meaning it's either going to be cutting off the two sides of my screen, or it's going to squish the whole image. Which I'll fix in editing, but... yeah. Hey, more dudes. It's interesting. Coda seems like one of those weird guys that ends up being cool once you get to know him.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Should I sit in this black space? Like he said? 5, 4, 3, no, okay.
Post. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason,
It's
it's going
neat.
to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Too. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something.
I'm making myself
He
dizzy.
wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
I'm excited. "2009! This game is connected to... As you can walk around, you can... All notes you see left by O... I think it's missing stuff. Alright. Now before the guy starts talking, see you all next time. I'm gonna have to double check my video to make sure it's recording properly and if not cutting off all that text. If it is, I'm sorry. I don't want to go back and do all that again. But until next time, stay awesome. See you all later.